So thanks very much for your question. Um, you wanted to know when did climate change start in Tasmania? Um, so over the last 1,000 years, we've seen an increase in carbon dioxide of about 20 parts per million. And in the past, we've understood this to be natural variability. So more recently, however, we have started to see a similar sort of increase in the last 10, 20 years. And what we're seeing now is at a much faster rate, so much more speedy that change that we're observing. So we know that this is not just natural variability. Um, and if we're looking at climate change in Tasmania, like in the rest of the world, it really is a result of long-term and ongoing processes. And it's important to understand that this climate change is driven by global factors. I'm sure you're all quite aware of a lot of these factors, for example, greenhouse gas emissions. Um, but generally, it, it is that change is a gradual and continuous process that has been unfolding over many decades and centuries. So if we look at Tasmania, we have observed a the temperature has been rising for a while, and weather patterns have been changing over the last few decades. Um, so, and as I said, this is obviously globally been observed, those changes, but for example, in Tasmania, we have seen a warming trend over the last century, and the most pronounced warming we have observed in the recent decades. So there's various different climate variables that we would look at in terms of monitoring climate change, and temperature is one major climate variable we observe. Um, Rainfall patterns have also changed. Some areas in Tasmania have are expected or are experiencing sort of more rainfall or altered rainfall patterns, and some areas are actually at an increasing risk of drought, so reduced rainfall. Or some areas will experience some areas have already been experienced in extreme rainfall events, and we probably expect that those extreme rainfall events actually would become uh, more heavy or bigger. So we've seen also some effects of rising sea levels on Tasmania's coastline. Um, and we've also seen some impacts on Tasmanian ecosystems, and that's of course really important, particularly for some really unique flora and fauna in the states. And then we've also seen some changes in bushfire frequency and also intensity in Tasmania, and that is sort of where we have seen sort of longer fire seasons. We've seen sort of increasing fire risk. We've seen that risk from wildfires has really changed, and we need to manage that into the future. Um, so we do that. We do know that climate change is a global issue, and we're doing a lot of work locally to understand climate change and how things might change in the future. So it's about observing climate change, but also looking at using these observed changes to actually model into the future what changes we might expect into the future, and that will help us to be more prepared for how to deal with climate change in future. So here at Climate Futures at UTAS, we're actually working to understand how we can use this knowledge to be better prepared for and respond to changes that we might experience in Tasmania going forward. I hope that helps. Please don't hesitate to get in touch with any follow-up questions. I'm very happy to talk to you again another time.